And speaking of that, I wanted to ask you if you had a favorite lineup that you've seen so far. I think this game was very telling for me. For me personally, I think my favorite lineup that was out there or would be out there hypothetically would be Steph Ant at the two, KD at the three, LeBron at the four, and either AD or Bam at the five. I think that could really do some wonders. You have two guys that's going to put pressure on the rim, and Ant and LeBron. LeBron's going to
Yep.
run that point. Ant's pretty much been the secondary point guard on this team when Derek White is, even with Derek White out there. Ant is the guy managing those pick and roll screens and stuff
Yep.
like that. I think Kerr is completely committed to having Steph be an off ball guy, a
Yep.
decoy, because it's crazy. Like everybody knows how great a shooter Steph is. Even these international teams are doubling Steph, making sure he doesn't touch the ball. So that's going to open other opportunities. And I honestly think they could use him in pick and roll a little bit, get them to try to trap Steph, get a short roll. Then you're playing 4-on-3 on the back end. But yeah, so Steph, Ant, KD at the three, LeBron, and AD or Bam at the five. You got KD out there. He can attack closeouts. He can excel at catch and shoot opportunities, catch and shoot, closeout attack. Steph can shoot it from anywhere, can attack closeouts. And then you have athletic above the rim guys. Like LeBron had a pick and roll with Anthony Davis where AD pretty much, went to the back door for the lob and they kind of did their signature pick and roll. I think there's some opportunities there. I really kind of wish LeBron and AD were out there together on the court, given that they're
A little
teammates.
more.
You
A
know what
little
I'm
more.
saying?
Yeah.
And
They
that
got
was
out
just
there a
a
little
highlight.
bit.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little
They got
bit. And
out
that
there
was,
and we saw what it could be. Yeah.
yeah. And I think there's some potential there. You know what I'm saying? Like they're teammates,
Yep.
they're on the same page. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's just so many different options on this team. But I think ultimately Steph and Katie at the three, Bron at the four, and one of the two mobile bigs at the five can be your closing lineup, can be your go-to lineup, whatever you want to call it. I really like that. I do want to shout out Book. He's been playing very
Yeah, he's
well.
been playing really
Um,
good.
his numbers weren't jumping out in the exhibition games just because he's playing with all these great offensive players and he's able to space the floor. He can get a bucket when he needs to. He's going to hit his closeout attacking, his dribble pull ups, and he was really great from catch and shoot. But I did want to ask you, what's your favorite lineup that you've seen so far from the exhibitions and from yesterday's game?
I really like pretty much any lineup with Anthony Davis and Bam in the game because of the defense they provide and their versatility on the offensive end as well. But with Kevin Durant coming back, I guess a hypothetical lineup that I like, obviously, I want Steph, LeBron, and KD in the game together.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you could put Bam and AD in that lineup as well, I think that'll be a really good lineup. But I think that might pose a few problems when you're talking
Defensively.
about perimeter defense.
I was
So
thinking the
I
same thing.
yeah, so I think I would want somebody like Anthony Edwards in that lineup.
Mhm,
Um, and like you mentioned, shifting LeBron or KD to the four, having Anthony Davis or Bam Adebayo at the five. Um,
mhm,
I would also say you might be able to put Drew Holiday in that slot versus having Anthony Edwards in that slot or
mhm.
Derek White or somebody like that. That's,
Definitely.
a guy that is more of a connective piece that's not gonna need the ball in their hands necessarily to be effective on the offensive end.
Mhm,
You could even throw Devin Booker in there because I think he's been a really good high energy defensive player for the Team USA so far. And he's
mhm,
also a guy that, like you mentioned, spaces the floor. And he's been a really good ball mover as well on this team, also. So I
mhm,
think you can put either one of those three in that spot. If I'm choosing between them, I would probably go Drew Holiday just because of the upside on the defensive end, and
mhm,
he can still space the floor as well. He played on the Boston Celtics team that ran
He's an
the
amazing cutter.
five out. Yeah,
You know,
amazing at
LeBron
cutting
loves
to the
cutter.
basket. Yeah, exactly. So having Steph run off those screens, having Kevin Durant, who is a guy that you can get him the ball in his spots, and there's literally almost nothing you can do. LeBron being kind of that point guard with Anthony Davis being the screen and roller, and his amazing ability on the defensive end. I think that just meshes well together for me. So I think I would go Steph, Drew Holiday, LeBron, KD, and Anthony Davis at the five.
Yeah, for sure. That two spot is so interchangeable, man. And when you are considering who you would put in instead of Anthony Edwards, not because you can't play Anthony Edwards, but for the fit, Ant's been more of the initiator in these lineups and for the Timberwolves. And you do have those type of intricacies you have to think about. I think with that lineup I mentioned, I like the physical. Well, let me say this. Whoever's going to be in that front line lineup, I want to maintain that physical presence. So
Yeah,
LeBron at the four, that's a perfect position for him at this stage of his career. He can be a hub, he can be a point guard, and your four man has to come out and guard LeBron. But also defensively, I don't know if you saw that guy try to bat LeBron down, and like
he
he
couldn't do
tried,
it.
yeah, he
He
tried,
couldn't do it. Yeah,
he had like two dribbles and he tried one last one, and Bron did not move. He was a brick wall. So, especially internationally, I think that physicality, especially on the front line, the active defensive rebound, LeBron was very active on the rebounds. I think that's one of the other weaknesses with Embiid in the starting lineup. He's not as active on the boards. Not that he can't, he's just not as active with it. So I think keeping that there is also why we like Bam and AD because what they provide physically. But even in the backcourt with Anthony Edwards and LeBron being that downhill force with two snipers on the wing with Steph and KD, I think that's the highest upside lineup. But there's no question Drew or Derek White could fit in there. I probably prefer Drew just because of that ability to shoot, the way he hounded those guys defensively, and his cutting ability was amazing. Um, Part of when LeBron had that no look pass, I think they ran a down screen for Steph or like a floppy screen on the left wing, and both of the guys went with Steph because once again, Steph is an off ball shooter. He's going to draw that type of attention. Drew recognized it, slipped to the basket, wide open layup. LeBron hit him. So I think he fits in so well, man. I'm glad Drew's getting his flowers because he's been a great player for a long time.